Right, we're doing an Arsenal versus Liverpool combined 11 from current squads and use this as a beautiful opportunity to talk about what is the biggest game of the season for Mikel Arteta, in my opinion. This game keeps them in the Premier League title race, and for Liverpool, it's a golden opportunity really to really crush the soul, the dream of Mikel Arteta this season. So we're going to do a combined 11 talking about all the informed players from both sides. If you disagree or agree, let me know in the comments down below, and obviously subscribe to the channel. I'll be covering the game straight afterwards on Sunday night. But I love these combined 11s. Haven't done one for a while. Let's start off in goal. It's very quick. It's very easy. I'm not going to waste anyone's time with this. The only thing I would say is that David Raya is a lot better, is a lot more secure than he was maybe in October, in November time, when there was a kind of a swap situation, and they were kind of Aaron Ramsdale's dad was coming out on Twitter and stuff like that, in particular slagging me off on Twitter. Obviously Alisson in goal, he's been absolutely superb this season. Right back is very, very hard because I'm a massive fan of Ben White. I think he's really, really strong in terms of what Arsenal need. He's dynamic, he's very good on the ball in my opinion. He already looks like that £50 million price tag is worth it for Arsenal based on the age profile, based on how good he is on the ball. But obviously he can't get in. And the funny thing is that you could even argue that Connor Bradley, who's come through for Liverpool, has been absolutely superb for Liverpool in the last few weeks. He's been a player that looks like he hasn't even come from the academy, like he's a 27-year-old, £55 million signing from Lazio, let's just say. He looks absolutely superb. He looks like he's built for the Premier League. He looks like he's got the desire to play for Liverpool. That is, you know, I guess everyone does when you play for Liverpool at that age. But look at the Chelsea project. How many of those young kids have their head down? And Connor Bradley's come in with his chest out, and he looks like a Liverpool great already. And it's scary. Obviously, he doesn't get in a combined 11 at the moment. Not enough evidence to see how good he is, but I don't need much evidence. I think this guy's absolutely superb. I really do. So we're going to put in Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he's been superb. But the beautiful dynamic that Klopp's now got, because of how good he is at processing players so quickly, you can put Connor Bradley at right back. He might even start against Arsenal, and then put Trent into midfield, which is a beautiful situation because it means that you can kind of double up the right side in a big game, and in a game where you should be, you know, a Luton, for example, you know, with all due respect, or Burnley, you know, a standard 3 points to Liverpool. You can play Trent and Connor Bradley for, you know, offensive quality that both of them bring. So he's kind of doubled up their attacking prowess at right back. The two centre backs is really difficult because I think all four and even five for Liverpool have been absolutely superb. Konate, Van Dijk have been incredible. Quance has been fantastic. He was great against Arsenal in the FA Cup. And then Arsenal centre-backs have been their unsung heroes. I think Gabriel was superb a couple of weeks ago, obviously scoring a couple of big goals. Saliba's kicked on even from last season, where he's one of the best centre-backs in the league last season. So it's a mixture of what you kind of prefer in a centre-back. I have to put in Konate. I tweeted it about a few weeks ago saying that I think he's having a better season than Saliba. I think he actually is. And then I'd throw in Van Dijk. I think he's been absolutely electric. Now, Saliba and Gabriel, don't get me wrong, are absolutely superb centre-backs, and they're very, very close. But Konate and Van Dijk are forming a really good partnership. And if it wasn't for Van Dijk coming out saying that he might question his own future at Liverpool now that Jurgen Klopp's leaving, you know, I think we'd be looking at Van Dijk staying for another 2, 3, 4 years. He might be off in the summer. We don't know. But Konate and Van Dijk, even it's Konate and Quance moving forward, that's a real partnership for the long term for Liverpool. There's no question about it. The left-back position is hard. Obviously, if you watch this far, make sure you subscribe and let me know what you think so far. The left-back situation is hard for both clubs. Obviously, Liverpool have had Joe Gomez, who I think has been really impressive at left-back. Obviously, played academy level at left-back when he was a kid, and obviously at Charlton Athletic, I think it was, at left-back. So he's been solid. I think Zinchenko's been weak. I think Kyrgios's been weak. And he's already been linked to a move away from the club as well. So it might not be a long-term solution at Arsenal for Kyrgios. And obviously Andy Robertson and Tsimikas have kind of had injuries. So when fully fit, Andy Robertson gets in 1,000,000%. Andy Robertson is probably the best left-back in world football. His work rate has been sorely missed by Liverpool. And that is massive credit to what this Liverpool side are doing at the moment, because they're still working incredibly well. And the fact that Andy Robertson isn't in this side, when he is back fully fit, playing week in, week out, Liverpool will be a whole different proposition. from that kind of March to April to May period of time. I have to put in Joe Gomez. I think he's been absolutely superb. You get that benefit of a centre-back playing in full-back, so defensively you get all that nous, all that experience, that extra level of physicality. I think he's been good on the ball as well. He's a very smart footballer, and I think he's put a big case in to be going to the Euros for England. The midfield is difficult as well, because I think there's a lot of standout Arsenal and Liverpool midfielders. Let's not get it twisted. We're talking about Arsenal and Liverpool as one of the biggest games of the season. I talked to Robbie Lyle on the channel. You can obviously check that out on my channel page. He didn't see it as such a big game. I think he thinks that there's more opportunities for Arsenal to get points over the Liverpools and the Man Cities of the world in other games. I'm not so sure where those games exist. This is a beautiful opportunity. But both sides are really fighting to win the Premier League this season still, in my opinion. And this is where doing a combined 11 is so interesting, because all these 11s can kind of compete with each other. Whoever gets into this midfield, Declan Rice has to get into the base of it, because I don't think Liverpool have addressed that defensive midfield situation that Fabinho obviously created a chasm when he left. Endo's come in, has been decent, don't get me wrong, didn't start off electric, but has been good in recent weeks when he's played. So Endo would be a shout in terms of if it was a new addition or purely based on new transfer. Declan Rice, what a midfielder he's been this season. He's added goals to his game. I remember the goal against Chelsea where he bent it around the key, but you just think, wow, this guy's got finesse, he's got quality. And if Arsenal get Thomas Partey back, if they choose to keep Thomas Partey, if Arsenal add a defensive midfielder to their ranks moving forward, you could even push Declan Rice up to complement with a bit more physicality the kind of Odegaards of the world. You could play in midfield as an attacking midfielder, in my opinion. So Declan Rice obviously gets into the base of midfield. Alongside him, it has to be Dominic Szoboszlai. I know he's not fallen off, but he's been a little bit flat in recent weeks. But I think that's just sometimes football cycles. He's stepped up the pace when Liverpool needed him, especially in the earlier rounds of the League Cup it was, and earlier games in the Premier League season. But he's still been absolutely superb for a brand new signing, especially from the German league. How many of them have flopped in recent years? He's come in and been a Steven Gerrard-looking player, 1,000,000%. And then alongside Szoboszlai and Declan Rice in midfield, it's tricky because I think Odegaard's having a bit of a overrated season. I think he could be doing a lot more, especially in games where Arsenal have lost, particularly West Ham, Fulham, or obviously drop points there. But I think Odegaard has to go in. I still think he's having a good season. McAllister gets close, of course. Endo probably even gets close. But Odegaard has to get in for just what he did last season, where he's at. The level is still there. I think I'm probably having an issue that should he be kicking on more in this kind of second season he's having at Arsenal at this level. Obviously, he was at Arsenal just before. He's been at Arsenal for a few years now. But is he going to kick on where Arsenal fans expect him? That is a big, big debate. The front three is hard because on one hand, Arsenal's front three is a bit more secure. You know the front three for Arsenal when they're all fit. You know exactly what it is. Liverpool's midfield, you have front three. You have no idea what it is really. Still, I think you see Núñez playing left, then right, then down the middle. Salah's in and out, obviously because the Africa Cup of Nations in recent weeks. Diaz on the right, sometimes on the left. Gakpo comes in and out. Jota comes in and out. Obviously, I'm doing this video on current form at the moment. We're going to have to freeze out Salah because he hasn't played in recent weeks. Obviously, if everyone's fully fit. All right, I'll put Salah in because I did put Andy Robertson in, I think it was. So we'll put in Salah right wing. But down the middle, it's really hard. I think Jota in recent weeks has been absolutely electric. Gabriel Jesus has picked up a few goals as well, but I think Jota's been operating at a much higher level than I thought he was capable of. I thought he was just a poacher, a bit of a finisher. And the way he drives with the ball, he was fantastic against Chelsea. And then on the left, this is hard because I still think Darwin Núñez could be doing more. I still think that he's clunky. I still think that if Liverpool, especially with that change of manager, if Liverpool, you know when Aguero was at Man City and he was getting goals for Mancini, then he got goals for Pellegrini, then he got goals for Guardiola, and obviously scored it in Guardiola's first cup final in England against Arsenal, obviously a chip over the keeper. So sometimes you need quality players that extend the lifespan of the club in that generation. So Darwin Núñez is a young player. He's coming for 85 million quid. He'll be there now for 2 or 3 or 4 managers at Liverpool if things go right. It is going right on the surface level. He scored 11 goals so far in the league. I think it is. But the reason I've kind of used the Aguero analogy is that his fundamentals were so good, but with so different, so many different managers coming in and out of Man City across a 10-year period. and it was so consistent. Will Darwin Núñez is what I'm trying to get to. Will Darwin Núñez be able to perform for a different manager? They're talking about Xabi Alonso, for example, who wants to control the game. He wants to move in tight spaces with short passing ranges. Darwin Núñez loves Jurgen Klopp because Jurgen Klopp asks his players to hit the ball first time round the corner. And Darwin Núñez, this kind of chaos theory, he can use this chaos theory in a Klopp system. If Xabi Alonso wants things to feet, wants things quick, wants things technically a little bit more clean and controlled, will Darwin Núñez bring that to Liverpool with the new manager? I don't know. It'll be a big debate, and that's the issue. That's the criticism of Darwin Núñez. He's having a good season. He has to do more. That is the burden of being a borderline world class player. That is the burden of being someone that costs so much money. He is paying them back because they're on for a quadruple. This ain't a joke. You know, they're on for a quadruple, but I still think Darwin Núñez has got a lot more to do. The fundamentals have to be there for different managers, like the great players. You know, De Bruyne was amazing for Pellegrini, and then Guardiola came in. These players transcend managers. Steven Gerrard did it for multiple managers. Frank Lampard did it for so many different managers, but he was the same player consistently. Will Darwin Núñez be an asset to Liverpool if Jurgen Klopp isn't there? I still think that is a huge debate that needs to be answered when we see who replaces Jurgen Klopp moving forward. So it will be Núñez on the left. You have to let me know if you agree with that or not, but Diaz has been very, very close. Gakpo can play left as well. They can play anywhere, really, these Liverpool players. Martinelli's not been bad. Don't get me wrong, Martinelli's not been bad. His numbers have been poor, but I think his work rate is good and his quality is still there. And then you look at Saka, who's obviously can't get in the side in my combined 11 because of how good Mohamed Salah is. Look at this Liverpool side. Again, it's the genius of Jurgen Klopp. Salah goes off to the Africa Cup of Nations. Has there been a dip in form? No. Fulham was a draw, obviously. They still won the tie, so it doesn't really count. It's almost like a win, a perfect win period for Liverpool without Mohamed Salah, which is a massive testament to Liverpool, and it's a massive comment on where Liverpool will be when he comes back from the Africa Cup of Nations. So that is that. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp would be my manager. You have to let me know in the comments down below your combined 11s. And obviously, if you like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll do a little bit more of it. Arsenal versus Liverpool. Give me your score predictions. I'm very, very excited. I think Arsenal are going to win 2-1. Yeah, I think Arsenal are going to win 2-1. There we go. See you soon.